Hello everybody and welcome back to F1 22 with me, Dan, and the BMW Slothz Tech team. We're headed to Canada for this race, which is great news because it's actually a race that, well, it's not too difficult and we've got a good history of actually winning there, even in a car which underperforms. The question is, though, can we actually beat our unbeatable teammate Lando Norris, who, for the third game running, I believe, is now unbeatable? Might even be the second game running, I'm not entirely sure. It just feels like such a long time since we've had a game where Lando Norris doesn't just become ridiculously overpowered as soon as you put him in a fairly good car. Remember back to last season, he was doing pretty well. He nearly won the championship in the end if it weren't for a bit of a mess up near the end of the season, which actually put him quite a few points behind his teammate Fernando Alonso. Well, now he's racing for us, and well, he's going to be one hell of a guy to try and beat. We might have to employ a few dirty tactics near the end of the season to try and bump him back down the order if we want a chance to win. And I'm sure Michael Schumacher will give it his seal of approval as well. Anyway, on to practice 3 already as we finish up with the first 2 ones. We're trying to get as many points as possible still, just to try and get these reliability purchases done as quickly as possible so that I don't have to take any penalties for the end of the season. Yes, it means that Norris might also not have to take any penalties, but that is a risk I'm going to have to take, because if I start at the back, there is absolutely no way in hell I am ever going to be able to catch that man under any circumstances. So we'll head over to the R&D, pick up a small upgrade there for reliability, and now it's off to the race. So then, Canada. Good record here in the past. Seem to win with fairly underpowered cars, unless you look back to what must have been like season 1 and 2 of this F1 22 career, in which case, well, season 1 was a write-off, and I believe it was season 2 where we got stuck behind a DRS train of Alpines and Ferraris for a good half of the race. Anyway, to keep up to speed with everything going on in this championship, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on those notifications as well so you know when all the races are uploaded. You can also go and check out Radiant Sloth's Clips, which has been gaining popularity quite recently as well. All of the shorts are uploaded there as well. Anyway, on to the starting grid in Canada, and it should come as no surprise whatsoever that we managed to pick up pole position, but only by a 10th over our teammate Lando Norris. Further down the order then, we will have Fernando Alonso and Robert Schwartzman in the McLarens, then Carlos Sainz and Max Verstappen. Then we have Charles Leclerc and Sergio Perez, followed by George Russell and Liam Lawson. Behind them we have Lance Stroll and Esteban Ocon, Kevin Magnussen and Yuki Tsunoda, Alex Albon and Oscar Piastri. Then Joe Guan Yu alongside Théo Pourchaire, Dan Ticktum and Pierre Gasly with a penalty, followed by Mick Schumacher, and finally Nicholas Latifi, the home hero here, unless you count Lance Stroll as well, in which case neither Canadian drivers are doing particularly well in this race. There's an excellent stat there, 0 penalties for us on the starting grid, as if it wasn't obvious enough, because we have got pole position. And there we have Mick Schumacher. There's the Drivers' Championship right now. You can see it's a pretty dire situation for us. We've got a bit of work to do for us to be able to catch up, but we've still got over half the season to go. Right then, 5 red lights in Canada, and we will be away. Here we go then. We've actually got a good start for once. We've got ahead of Lando Norris, or stayed ahead, but Fernando Alonso down the inside, he completely destroys his chances of getting across the, well, through the first corner there. Went a little bit too narrow on the entry. We got Norris trying to challenge around the outside here as we slip down the inside and completely close that door on him as well. We do not want him to get past us whatsoever. In fact, ideally, he'd hit us and give himself a penalty, which would be absolutely fantastic. But coming on to what will become a DRS straight later on, he's just within half a second. Doesn't really get anywhere, though. This is the start for Norris. You can see we actually managed to get away well for once. But here comes Fernando Alonso. Forgets there's a corner and goes straight off onto the tarmac. This is Norris trying to go around the outside of us there. Little swipe at us, just for good measure, and then into the chicane we go, and we run him out of room. I've seen that one go that way before. If you've watched Formula 1 through the 2010s, then you might know what I'm on about. Anyway, this is Alonso. Yeah, that is not the line to go through there. You really do not want the inside line. He drives over the F122 logo because he's all about F123. He cares not for the old games. And here we go, looking at Nicholas Latifi with Alonso behind him, but we've got contact up ahead. That is multiple cars there with no front wings as Alonso gets one position back. We've got a virtual safety car out now. And Nicholas Latifi has pulled off to the side of the road. This is Zhou Guanyu. Based on the fact that he didn't hit anyone there, I'd say that his teammate Mick Schumacher just crashed into the back of him. Here's Latifi. Yeah, that's a crash right there. And there's Alonso going past under a yellow flag as well. So at the restart after the virtual safety car, still out just now. There we go, green, and we're away in Canada once again. Norris already going on the aggressive. We got a Ferrari actually trying to get past as well. It's our former teammate Carlos Sainz, who's currently ahead of a Red Bull and a McLaren. He must be wondering where on earth the competition is today. Norris is still trying here into the first couple of corners, but he's going to have to back off a little bit because there's absolutely no chance of getting past here. Now, of course, the one issue that we do have to contend with is that given that it was a virtual safety car, not a full safety car, the DRS will be enabled after, well, this lap. And there's Norris trying to make the most of it already. We've got the fastest lap still, but it is still early days. Norris is going to look down the inside now into turn one. We force him onto the Alonso line, but he keeps it on the track. Then we oversteer through turn two, and that gives Norris the place, and that is absolutely disastrous for us. And we now got our former teammate breathing down our necks as Norris navigates his way through the chicanes. We're going to get a chance here with the DRS, but it may not actually be anything that we can use here because this isn't the best straight for overtaking. Further down the order, I've just seen on the minimap we've got an Aston Martin and an AlphaTauri. Presumably Pierre Gasly was the one missing his front wing earlier on. So there's a couple more places for Alonso, but all eyes are on Robert Schwartzman today, given that Alonso's probably not going to get into the points. Looking down, he's only just there behind, presumably, Tictum. Don't think he's going to be much of a threat for us by the end of this race. Anyway, talking of threats, we're not so much of a threat there to Norris down the straight, but we do close up in the braking zone. DRS and ERS, we've used it all of our allocation for that lap, and that's probably helped. But Norris locks up into turn one. He messes it up for the second time in a row, and we get round the outside just about. Norris is still going to hang on. No, he's given up now as we come into the chicane. No, he's going to try it. Nearly hits him. Hits the back of our car there as I try to make noises which sound like the English language. And we rejoin later on. This is lap 8. So Norris has come in for his stop. We're amazingly not coming in as well yet. That's almost unheard of for us. In fact, we seem to be one of the last to pit besides Esteban Ocon. And of course, some of the back markers. So front wheels on as well, and away we go. Let's see where Norris is. He's coming past us right now. We swap to him. Where are we going to come out, though? He comes through turn one. Where are we? There we are. We go past, and for some reason, Carlos Sainz is all the way down in 7th. I don't know how he's managed that, but he's actually been... I don't know if he was undercut by those by Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc, but he's further back nonetheless. There's Oscar Piastri once again running around in the top 3 after pit stops, getting some screen time. But I'm afraid if you want to get more screen time, Oscar, you're going to have to get out of that Haas team, or at least tell them to actually upgrade the car as Norris goes to the inside into the wall of champions. That was close there. Big slide from us on exit, and Norris is going to have a chance around the outside. What will become the inside for turn 1? As the remaining cars come into the pit lane, we go defensive through turn 1. Just positioning the car slightly to the left of the racing line. Kind of runs him out of options. This was the attempt Doesn't quite get alongside us. He ends up cutting the corner. We get a slide as we panic that he's potentially going to try and go past us. And then our position in here, no room on the right-hand side and no room on the left unless you want to send it straight across the F122 logo like Alonso did at the start of the race. Rejoining lap 11. Norris still trying to catch up. He's within 3 tenths. He's got a good chance here going onto the straight. Oh, but he's crashed into the back of us. Lando Norris has lost an end plate on his front wing. This could be disastrous for his championship contention. What's he going to do? Is he going to stay out? He's still pretty close to us, actually. 4 tenths, 3 tenths, 2 tenths. He's closing in. He's going to the outside, potentially, unless he's just... No, he's coming into the pit lane. And that's going to drop him all the way down outside of the top 10. Let's watch the onboard. So, as we've gone defensive there, Lando Norris decides to go left, then right, then left, then right, then left, then right, and then just hits us anyway. There he is, changing his front wing. And he will come out behind Porsche. Where's Schumacher going to be? Schumacher's in the pits. Because he had a crash at the beginning of the race, and Pierre Gasly is presumably coming in as well. So he won't have to deal with them, but he's out all the way down in the lower reaches of the field, which potentially causes issues, because now we've got a fastest lap battle on our hands. Will he allow us a 7-point? No, it's not even a 7-point lead. Will he allow us 26 points of gain on him? Or 25? That is the question. He holds the fastest lap. Yuki Tsunoda at some point has retired from the race. Another AlphaTauri retirement. They are not having a good season. In fact, I don't actually remember when we last saw both cars finish. I'll have to go back and look. But that's not important. This is our last attempt to get our 26th point for the Grand Prix. Max Verstappen, no threat whatsoever. Just decided to stop racing partway round the closing stages of this race. Carlos Sainz not been able to recover. He would have been on the podium in P2 had he not lost out to the pit stops earlier on. And now we come through here. We've not got the DRS, which could prove problematic. Norris, down in 14th behind Albon, is within range of getting a DRS tow down the straight, potentially pulling him into a fastest lap position. As we come through the final couple of corners, we probably run out of deployment again, but we're going to come across the line, and we'll find out in a few minutes whether it's going to be the fastest lap as well, because I really cannot see anywhere on the steering wheel which suggests otherwise. But that is our next win. Not been one for a while, but what I can confirm after Max Verstappen gets driver of the day is that BMW have still not achieved a win. So that's, what are we on, race 7 now? All races have been won by a BMW driver this season. Not all of the second places though, because, well, we've had this issue here with Norris, and I've had a few mishaps as well. Thinking about you, Miami, and your tropical rainstorms. But there we go. Another trophy to add to the team's cabinet. We may even be able to go through the whole season winning every single race. One can only hope. But, well, we'll get on with the race results and we'll see what the standings are then. And here we are. Yes, we did achieve the fastest lap at the end with a 1:10.6 compared to Norris's 1:10.999. But that means we were joined on the podium by Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc, followed by Carlos Sainz, Sergio Perez, Robert Schwartzman, George Russell, Liam Lawson, Lance Stroll, and Esteban Ocon. So over in the Drivers' Championship, we closed the gap to Norris to just 41 points now. Behind us, we have Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Charles Leclerc, Robert Schwartzman. Carlos Sainz jumps ahead of Alonso into 7th. Then George Russell, Liam Lawson round at the top 10. Further down the order, we have Pierre Gasly, Lance Stroll, Esteban Ocon, Kevin Magnussen, Yuki Tsunoda, Alex Albon. The final point scorer, Nicholas Latifi, Teo Pourchaire, Joe Guan Yu, Oscar Piastri, Mick Schumacher, and Dan Ticktum. And finally, no changes at the top for the constructors, but Ferrari move up to 3rd place ahead of McLaren. Mercedes remain in 5th. Then we have Alpine moving ahead of AlphaTauri for 6th. They're followed by Haas and Williams, and then Aston Martin and Audi with 0 points apiece. That's all for this race. We'll catch you next time for the home Grand Prix in Britain.